For more, let me bring in Congressman Jim Clyburn of South Carolina. Congressman, good to have you with us tonight. I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
What would you say to President Obama when the I word continues to come up? Are they telling the president right now, get in line or else? How do you interpret all the chatter?
Let me first say thank you to all those men and women who serve this country so gallantly and valiantly. I just left a program honoring Navy veterans, started out the morning at a Veterans Parade, and so I want to say thank you to all of them. Now, as for your question, let me tell you, I have been saying for several weeks now, long before the election, that if they maintain their majority in the House and got a significant majority in the Senate, there will be some reason found to introduce an impeachment resolution. These Republicans have decided that this president must have an asterisk by his name when he leaves office, irrespective of whether or not he gets convicted. It is their plan to introduce an impeachment resolution, and they do have the 218 votes to pass it, because that will keep the country focused on foolishness rather than on what we need to do in order to move an agenda forward. You know full well you will not get two-thirds votes in the Senate to convict, so why are we going through this whole charade? It is to put an asterisk next to this first African-American president in the history of the country, put an asterisk next to his name when the history books are written.
And do you think that the immigration and executive move on that is going to be the catapult to that?
That's exactly what I think. I know Joe Biden. Joe Biden wasn't speaking through the top of his head. They know that that is an issue that the president feels very strongly about. They are not going to do anything themselves on immigration for two reasons. Number one, they cannot find the kind of unanimity within their caucus or their conference to do that. And so number two, they believe that the president is so committed to this issue that he will, in fact, proffer an executive order to get it done, and that will be the peg upon which they will hang an impeachment resolution.
What would you advise the president to do? Move forward with executive action on immigration and risk the chance of being impeached? And I think that there would be a big political downside for the Republicans if they did that. But what would your advice to the president be, Congressman?
Absolutely move forward. You may recall I was the lone voice yelling for the president to use the executive order to raise the debt limit, debt ceiling some years ago, and I still feel that the executive order is something that every president ought to move to do when Congress won't do its work. Now, I just left, as I said, a Navy memorial to the Navy veterans, and I brought up Harry Truman, a World War I veteran who, after World War II, used the executive order to integrate the armed services because Congress was never going to do it. And so Harry Truman integrated the armed services of this country by executive order. I think that was the right thing to do. Now, he got a lot of blowback at the time. You may remember from your studies, you're not old enough to remember when all this happened, that Strom Thurmond bolted the Democratic Party over that executive order and formed the States' Rights Party over integrating the armed services. These same people who are running around saying how great it is to have all these veterans. And look at the number of African-American, Hispanic, other minorities, veterans are fighting for this country, and these are the people who are descendants of those who wanted to bolt the Democratic Party over integrating the armed services. You should not fight together. You should not be in foxholes together. You should not die together on behalf of this country. That is what these people are about. Their narrative is to do what they can to maintain this narrative of inferiority on the part of African Americans and never allow a integrated agenda to go forward.
Congressman Jim Clyburn, good to have you with us tonight, sir.